Hello guys, welcome back to another video. Thank you guys for being here. If you're a subscriber, welcome back. If you are new, I'm so glad to have you here. I do videos on health and wellness, psychology, coaching tips, just all the things that go into creating a life and health that you love. So today we're gonna jump into a new topic. This topic is a cause of anxiety and depression for some, and it is none other than the concept of learned helplessness. Learned helplessness is a psychological term. It's a state of being where you're passive and you feel powerless, and it comes from recurring failure or just an inability to overcome stress, or just feeling like life is beating you down and you just can't seem to get out of the rut. And this happens over a prolonged length of time that makes people just become hopeless, feel powerless, and feel like they're not in control of what happens to them anymore. It can lead to a lot of depression and also a lot of anxiety. From my experience, learned helplessness can occur over your whole entire life, where someone is in the state of just not being able to access and use solutions that are available to them because they have the underlying belief that it won't work anyways. It can be an overarching state of belief over your whole life, like every area of your life. But sometimes it can also be about a certain particular area of your life. So for instance, maybe someone who's been trying to lose weight or trying to get healthy that has not seen any progress could fall into is working, and so they give up. Why is this topic important to tackle? On this channel, we're trying to build lives and health that we love, and so learned self-helplessness can be one of the stumbling block or the obstacles to building such a life. When it comes to our health and our life, our success in different areas of life, when underlying issues like learned self-helplessness are not looked at, then things don't change. So how can you tell if you are experiencing learned helplessness? In any area of your life? Like I said, it could be in maybe just your health, or just your finances, or your relationships, or it could be just an idea or just a difficult state that you're struggling with, and it's affecting your whole entire life. So these are some of the signs that will tell you if you're having this issue in any or all areas of your life. So first, you feel passive. So there's passivity. You feel like you can't take action, or you don't want to take action even though there are things that you do want. Or if you're feeling low self-esteem, you feel like you lack effort, you feel like you give up, you've given up, you feel low motivation, and the impact of learned helplessness is fear and anxiety, because as certain positive attitudes and mindsets have a positive feedback loop, negative ones also have a negative, like some sort of like feedback loop, and create more fear and anxiety with trying to succeed in your health or in your life. It can also create a state of burnout where you just feel exhausted. Your creativity is low. You feel out of control. You feel like you don't have self-efficacy. You feel like something out there is controlling your life and you can't quite get ahead. You feel like there is no emotional healing. You're experiencing things that happen to you in a very real, painful way over and over and over again. And also you feel an unwillingness, like that's what passivity is, that you feel an unwillingness. You're just not willing to take action. And this is a point where I want to interject and say that this is not the time to beat yourself down or to look at yourself critically. I believe in curiosity over judgment. The questions that we want to ask is, I wonder why. I wonder why I am unwilling to act in this way. I wonder why I do A, B, C, and D, or don't do anything at all, although I want success in my life or I want certain different things in my life. And so curiosity over judgment is a very effective way of just basically doing self-discovery and self-exploration, because usually every behavior that we have is trying to protect us, is trying to help us in one way or the other. We usually have a positive intent behind everything that we do. Usually, a lot of these psychological patterns have a positive intent, whether to protect the person from more feelings of rejection because of failure, or pain, protecting you from pain, or just something that you fear in the future. So there's always a reason why learned helplessness exists. Curiosity is way more helpful than judgment when we're trying to heal and change our psychological patterns and our habits. In my research, I found that 3 things that could cause learned helplessness is childhood trauma. So where it's a case where a child is in maybe an abusive situation, or a situation that is less than favorable, harmful, threatening for a long period of time. It could also be from childhood neglect. So where a child's needs are not met, and so the child develops this idea that no matter what I do, my needs are not going to be met. And so they internalize that as no matter what I do in the world and in life, it's not going to really matter. It's really not going to change anything because they were neglected in childhood. Also, adults that experience some sort of elongated trauma can also develop learned helplessness. So for instance, a woman or man in an abusive relationship that has gone on for a while, maybe they've left and gone back and left and gone back and left and gone back, and nothing has really changed for a long time, can begin to feel like there's nothing they can really do to change their life. There's nothing they can really do to change their story. And they might just have to live with the hand they've been dealt. In my experience, I have found that cultures or countries where people have remained in poverty, in economic systems where there is corruption, there's all these different red tape and just mismanagement of the economy at large, that causes the country to be in deficit, in poverty, just have like a poverty cycle going. People in those cultures or environments can begin to take on learned helplessness because it begins to seem like no matter what they do, no matter what they try, it's not going to work. And so then the passivity comes in, the low self-esteem comes in, and that can be, that can easily divert somebody into substance abuse, depression, anxiety, just all the vices that come from that sort of helplessness and powerlessness. In some countries where there is also systemic discrimination against maybe a particular people group. And for a long time, sometimes people in that people group can begin to take on a level of learned helplessness, where people begin to believe that no matter the effort that they put in, no matter what they try, they will not get far in their pursuits. And so that kicks people into a powerlessness state. And that powerlessness can actually send other people into a rebound effect, where violence is what they choose to basically fight back the system. Another definition of learned helplessness is in the fact that the term says that people are unable to utilize solutions or use adaptive, creative ways to basically reinvent themselves or to succeed, even if those ways are available, because they have come to believe that whatever they do is not going to be helpful. And as you can tell, this can be running in the background if you have had a traumatic childhood and have become an adult. You might have no idea that in the background you might be running some learned helplessness tapes in your subconscious that you might not have processed or brought to the forefront. So you might be experiencing some dissatisfaction in certain areas of your life and not knowing why, and feeling like you want better and you want to see some different things happen for you. So I'm going to jump into some ways that we can begin to pull back the curtain and begin to process some of these things, and so then begin to take steps towards the things that we feel will bring us the life and health that we love. So I compiled a few strategies to help us heal from learned helplessness. The first strategy I want to talk about is mindfulness. I'm a big mindfulness person. I love it. So basically, within the umbrella of mindfulness, you can use the tool of journaling to begin to process some things from your childhood, some things from your past relationships or interactions along different stages and milestones in your life, to kind of increase some self-awareness, taking that time, dedicating that time to just exploring what you've been through, what your experiences have been of the world, and just learning from that. The other thing about journaling is just processing limiting beliefs. Are there any limiting beliefs about any area of your life? Like, I will never meet the love of my life, or I will never reach a certain income level. And ask the question, instead of the judgment or the limiting belief completely holding you back, ask the question, why do I believe this? And then also explore, what if this was not true? Because when you begin to ask your mind questions, it begins to come up with answers. But there are a lot of questions that sometimes lay dormant and lay unasked. And so our brains just accept the limiting beliefs that we have, and that becomes status quo. But then when you start teasing them out and asking the right questions, you could actually begin to make major mindset shifts that are going to catapult you into the life that you want. Under mindfulness, the second practice you could do is meditation and visualization. So this is just a practice, just a quiet practice of just sitting and using your breathing We're going to talk about a breathing style that I have mentioned in some of my other videos that does really help calm your body into a state of relaxation. And with visualization, you're going to start to visualize yourself in some new ways. So for instance, if you are wanting to meet a partner, for instance, I keep using it because it's an easy one. Relationships are a big one for people that have gone through trauma. One way you can practice visualization is by visualizing yourself with the thing that you're wanting to see in your life, whether it's a graduation that you're wanting to achieve, a college graduation, or a business startup that you want to see, whether it's meeting the one for you, a good relationship, a good partner. You want to sit in that relaxed state and see yourself in these spaces. Begin to think about where you're at, what you're hearing, the sounds. What do you feel? What are you experiencing in those things? Begin to just explore those spaces. Doing this enough time will give your brain the ability and the chance, right? See yourself in these roles and in these ways that you are trying to transform your life. And so it's kind of like a basis of an identity shift. So you've always seen yourself a certain way, you've always done things a certain way, then all of a sudden you're now visualizing yourself doing some very different things than you've done in the past. And so what that does, it begins to mess with your identity. And in this case, you do want to mess with your identity because you want to shift it towards the person that never gets A, B, and C, to the person that's winning, the person that's having the things that they want. That's always a good identity to shift. And so that's what begins to happen, some identity change, which will then begin to shift your belief system about yourself. And the breathing work that you can use is a 5-5-7 breathing method. This breathing pattern is basically breathing in slowly for 5 seconds, hold for 5, and then letting it out slowly for 7 seconds. So the 5-5-7 breathing pattern. And this just relaxes your brain, especially if you are visualizing yourself doing things that scare you, doing things that are just so out of the norm for you. You're going to want to tell your body that you're safe, that you're okay, that you're not, in flight or fight mode, that it can calm and it can really explore these new images that you are visualizing for yourself. So the second point that I want to make is the using of affirmations. So I am big on affirmation because I believe that speaking is super powerful. Words are very powerful. And also what we hear, right? What we hear us say about ourselves is very, very powerful, because apparently we believe ourselves more than anybody else. So I can sit here and tell you you're amazing, which you are, but until you tell that to yourself and you believe that about yourself because you cultivated that relationship with yourself, it wouldn't matter too much what I tell you. And so affirmations are big in that way, where, whatever negative patterns, negative experiences that you've had, and the stories that have formed around those experiences, you can actually come up with affirmations based off of those. So I am strong, I am resilient, I am an effective student, I am good at relationships, I am an effective communicator, I know how to A, B, C, and D. You fill in the blanks for the things that you're wanting to see happen in your life, and you say that to yourself enough. That's another way that you start tackling limiting beliefs, and also begin to shift some of those identities around helplessness and powerlessness. The third thing I'd like to talk about is setting attainable goals right now. So what I mean by that is it might be a big thing for somebody who struggles with learned helplessness to, go do the next big thing. But what you could do is maybe start with what's around you, right? Something that's attainable, that's right in your surrounding. Because sometimes some of these psychological patterns, like learned helplessness, can cause depression. That makes it hard for people to, for instance, keep up. So setting a few attainable goals, and this could look as small as taking care of a pile of dishes in the sink, or reorganizing a closet that you've been putting off, or doing some yard work and cleaning up around your house, or setting up a filing system for your paperwork at home. It could be, a very small task. The goal is that it is small enough that you can attainably complete it. And you complete enough of those tasks to then build up on next level stuff. How this works is that, for instance, let's say that you have been successful in reorganizing your home and making healthy meals for yourself in your refrigerator, and maybe working out 5 to 10 minutes every single day for a while. What that's going to do is going to start to shift your confidence level. It's going to start to shift your idea that whatever you do doesn't matter because it doesn't really help you much, to seeing that what you do does help you, and it does matter, and it does cause change, positive change in your life. And so these kinds of activities and goals are great to start with, and then build up on, and do this for months on end, years on end. Confidence is going to be built. There's going to be a shift in self-efficacy, and you will be able to then direct that confidence and that shift in self-efficacy to other areas of your life that maybe might have been way too scary to tackle. Another way to do this is also to pair goals. So you have a big goal, let's say, to get an A in a class, and then you have a small goal, let's say, to do the dishes and have it completely clean in your kitchen. Pairing those two goals is going to be great, because maybe doing the dishes is a more attainable goal. And so after you do the dishes, you tell yourself, I'm going to do the dishes for this amount of time, and then for this amount of time I'm going to work on math. What that does is it takes the confidence and the dopamine boost and the reward feeling that you get from doing the attainable goal, and it pours it right into a goal that's a bigger goal, that's a more consequential goal, something that's going to really matter. They kind of feed off of each other. So you take that attainable goal, do it, and then pour the energy that you get from that and the confidence that you get from that right away into another thing for a specific amount of time, and then you let it go, rest and reward. This kind of helps you move forward in, those small goals and also the big goals, especially if you happen to be a student or if you happen to, just have some big deadlines or big things that you're wanting to get done. Just pouring that energy from a small goal achieved into a bigger, more scary goal that needs to be done. The fourth thing I'd like to talk about is changing your environment. So when you change your environment, you begin to develop a different flow. Okay, like energy is, think about when you walk into a spacious space, that is maybe minimal, nicely decorated and whatnot, versus when you walk into a cluttered space that is dark and doesn't get sunlight and has a lot of clutter. You feel different. And that's what this point is about. That changing your environment matters so much, whether it's your physical environment, cleaning out, decluttering your physical environment, or your relationships. That's another environment that we live in, our relationships. So looking at relationships and how they're making you feel, there might be people in your life that might be looking down on you, talking down to you, or not believing in you, not trusting in your self-efficacy, and just kind of limiting your exposure to those relationships or the impact that those relationships have on your way of thinking. Just recognizing those inputs, because now you're trying to build something different, you're trying to heal, you're trying to build good things in your life and create positivity in your life. So you really have to watch out for those relationships that do not positively affirm and support you into creating the life that you want. All right, guys, so the last but not the least thing that I want to talk about is the concept of taking small steps and celebrating big. So take small steps, celebrate big. Because what that does is, there's a saying that taking small steps consistently always beat taking big, bold steps inconsistently, or not taking steps at all because they feel too scary to take. So to combat that, you want to take small steps and you want to pre-plan what your reward is for that step, especially when you do struggle with some low self-esteem, with some stress, anxiety, fear. Just take a small step. What is the smallest thing you can do towards the goal that you want? And it might not even produce the bigger goal, but over time, it will, because over time you're going to experience shifts inside of you, and over time those little bits of activities are going to add up and create a big change in your life. So the point is to take small steps, the smallest step, the smallest, most just unimpressive step. You're like, I'm not doing this to impress myself or anybody. I'm just taking this small step, and I am taking it whether it feels like failure, whether no matter what it feels like, I am accepting this fully, just the way it is. I am willing to fail. I'm willing to not be good at this, but I'm going to take a step, and then reward yourself for doing that. Okay, so next time your brain knows there's a reward that's coming for the small steps that you're taking towards creating the life and health that you want. And truly the big reward is down the line, but you can't, sometimes it's delayed. Gratification is delayed, it's in the future. But the steps that you take today is what's going to create the future that you want. So that brings us to the end of our video today. Thank you guys so much for sticking with me, for being here. Share, like, subscribe, hit the notification button if you want to be notified of new videos. And until my next video, have a good, wonderful life.